Hi, it's Susan from Butts Bees. Thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to talk about what I'm doing is placing some of my last few queens from the last graft that I did, and we are in the end of August, and I have them here in a bank. I have 6 left to place. This is a queen bank at this point because they are emerged and they need to go out into a nuc to get mated. So this is a queen bank. There's emerged virgin queens. So anybody that you see in there is actually a virgin. They came out a really nice size. And you can see they tend to favor one or the other sometimes. You can keep them in a bank for a while, but the idea is to get them out and get them mated, and then if you need to bank them again, they need to have laid a couple of weeks before you bank them for any length of time, because you want them to be the best laying queens that you can get. And the longer that they're banked as virgins, there is some sort of studies that show that, and I have not read them personally, but I've read about them, that it takes them longer to mate when they're banked for a long time. You don't want them in there that long. Week, 2 weeks is the length of time for virgins. And then once they've been mated, then you can bank them again. And I've seen different people bank queens over winter. And there's different methods of doing it, but basically it's you put them in a queenless hive. The hive then makes their own queen, and once that queen emerges and is mated, they'll take care of those mated queens all winter long. It's been done. It can be done. So this is my virgin bank, and today that's what I'm doing, is putting them in their nucs. This is one nuc that I'm going to put the virgin in, and these nucs that I've made up are actually they're not made up, they're existing nucs that had laying queens in them. And I will show you where I banked the laying queens, but I took them out 24 hours ago, a day ago. And because I knew I wanted a really good acceptance, so I took them out and I wanted to be able to release them directly. And that will give me a better acceptance for a direct release. So when you're moving queens around, I don't know why it's not focusing. Oh. When you're moving queens around, I have the queens here, and the thing is with queens, if you're not careful with a queen, mated or not, and she's in some sort of cage, and you walk away with her sitting on a lid while you prepare the hive, she can die if she's in that direct sun. So either carry her in your pocket in your suit, or your pocket where she won't get squished from you bending over, but definitely leave her out of the sun. Put her in the shade, put something over her where she has a little bit of ventilation. But you know, it happens that you put her down and forgot, and you walk back and there's your queen, and she's dead in her cage before she ever got a chance to get out. So make sure you take good care of your queens. So we're going to go ahead and give a direct release. The really sketchy part about a direct release is that she can fly on you. So you want to be pretty sure that the cage, when you open it, is face down and she has nowhere to go but down. And while I would love to show you her run out of the cage, it's just, I can tell by the way they're acting in their cages, is they're really want out. So she's already up at the top waiting for me to open it. So you gotta be really careful. Come on, go away. Go down. So here she is. I have the lid off. And she's going down. She's gone down in there. And so I don't want to mess around too much. This time of year, everybody's acting a little flighty. So, best to just let them have her, and away they go. Be sure to mark your hives that there is a virgin in there so you know to go back. I use a different system, my tack system, red light, green light kind of thing. And that way I can come back probably in a week and see if she hasn't gone out. It usually takes about 10 days. They can come back sooner. I've had some queens take about 3 weeks, and I've had some strange ones that took actually longer. If I see them in there, I kind of give them it. Otherwise, sometimes I just take them out and set them somewhere else. But I've only had 1 or 2 that really took so long to get mated. So I'm off to another one. Here's nuke number 2. Number 2 queen. Try to release her where she can go down. You want her to do probably right on top of the brood, what's left of it. It's only been 24 hours. She's a really dark queen. She's not as jumpy as the other. And right away she goes right down and right in. That's number 2. 4 more to go. This is nukes 3 and 4. It's a double or a side. One side has a queen, or is going to get 1 virgin, and one side's going to get the other. And you can see that they're slightly different strengths, but that's okay. I'm not on top of winter like Canada or somewhere like that. And just both again queenless for 24 hours. keeping queens out of the sun. And do not release your queen close to the divider. Oops, sorry. Release your queen. Hopefully there's some brood over here. I know for mine there is right around here. And if you released her too close, you'd get some crossover, and you don't want that confusion, because being that they're both queenless, they're going to look for that scent. So make sure when you release her, it's away from that divider board, just so you don't have all of a sudden a jump of bees going. A few are no big deal, but you don't want a big mess on your hands. Okay. Gotta open up the queen cage. These queen cages are called roller cages, by the way. They're used in the Nucs system. She's a pretty big looking queen. Nice size, and you can see they're starting to come over here. You don't want them to come over, not that much. That's why I'm putting the queen and the smaller side first, because if there is that kind of dance of bees that come over because of the pheromone, the larger size can handle it. Whereas if it went the opposite way, that's not really anything that you want. So just try to get her in there with, and she goes right in. Yeah, she was ready. And you can see they're coming over a bit, which is not that big a deal, like I said, because that's a strong hive over there, strong nuke. And then I have number 2, or number 4 in our procession. And she goes right down as well. Absolutely empty. So the pheromone is really strong. They need that. I'm just going to give them a spritz, because I got a little essential oil in there. And then we'll cover them up. Mark it. Again, don't forget your marking. I mark my hive. I make a mark in my notes. I mark my hive because that is something that generally is an assured spot. If I forget my book, that doesn't help me. My hive being marked, I know I can just visually take a good look and say, hey, that one needs work, that one doesn't. Okay, on to 5 and 6. Another way to work with sides or double queened hives or double nukes when you're releasing virgins or any queens, or even looking for queens, and is to use some sort of cover. Some people use burlap, some people use a flour sack. Here in my yard, I use the bubble wrap because of the heat, and I'm trying to reduce their heat. So you can just open it up and just leave one side exposed. And that'll minimize any crossover. It'll minimize flying bees in your face. You know, you don't have to open it all up, which is kind of nice. When they're queenless, they can get kind of fussy. So minimize your problem bees, your base flyers. So we'll go ahead and release number 5. she is, nice and big. Right down where you want her. And she's gonna go up top, but she'll take a second. There she goes. And down she goes. When you have nukes, queenless nukes, that's when you're gonna see, if you let them go long enough, you're gonna see more mites appear, but that's because they don't have the spots to hide in the capped brood. So it's not that there's more mites, it's just that they're running, looking for somewhere to go. And they're probably attaching to the bees and flying away, looking for a new hive that has more to munch on. And now we're on to the other side. Then, there you go. Nice propolis action. Set it down. I know she's queenless. I have her marked in many ways. This one seems to have a particularly strong pheromone that they like. Have to make sure she doesn't come out on the lid that I'm holding. See if we can get a shot of her. She's a nice big fatty. I like fat virgins, and everybody's excited to see her. Yikes. Oh, excuse me. And that was really quick. She's down and in there. And the spritz. Oh gosh, excuse me. We'll close them up. So, mark your hive again. And like I said, give your virgins 10 days. If you open it up and she's still a virgin after 10 days, don't despair, because it can take longer. If you've got rain, it can take longer. If you've got cloudy days, you can have rain, but no, and it's all in the sun and she can go get mated. But the clouds, the darker the sky, they don't really go for that. That's my experience. I won't say I'm an expert. It's just my experience, and I do it a lot. So now I'll give you a show and show you my banked mated queens. This is my queen bank for mated queens, and she actually sits above a single mated queen. I have a horseshoe, and this is kind of like a divider board, cloak board, whatever you want to call it. This is, it was my builder, and once I needed to move them out so that they would be taken care of and given time to, the virgins moved out, and then I took the mated queens and put them in here as the bank. When you build a queen bank, you need to, one, have population. You have to have both open and capped brood, and you need to have, of course, their source of nectar, honey, and a pollen frame, because they're just getting it going to make sure that they keep the girls fed. Come on, let me in. They're hanging on my fingers doing the shake. Okay. So here I have 7 queens. These are all mated. Okay, so this is the queens. They're mated. They have no attendants in their cage. They don't need attendants. That's why you have them banked. Because you don't need to be grabbing anybody, setting them in there. They don't need it. These queen cages are from the G's Bees grouping of bees, queen cages. And they sit in this bar, and you just fasten it in to your regular frame. And then you set it down into the hive. You set it down into the hive between 2 brood frames. And you can see they're on it. They're feeding them. And I have this one, actually 2. They're not on them as much. So I'm actually going to take this one queen here and put her back. I have a queenless nuke. I'm going to put her back because they don't seem to be very interested in her as much as the others, and I would hate to just see her die in there because I know she's a laying queen. But back to queen banking. So when you make this bank up, it should have been queenless, and or you can make it up from a few frames from a few different hives, making sure there's no queen on the frames. And then that way, if you give them the resources, they can make a queen cell, and they will still feed those banked queens. Even when the virgin emerges, it's different than banking virgins. I do believe they have a released virgin already in here, but I have yet to see her. I'm not too worried about it because I have frames that I can replace, add. I have a lot of resources to choose from. But if you don't have a lot of resources to choose from, you do want to be careful. Let's see. So she has emerging brood. I don't know if there's any, yeah, there's still some open brood. It's not a bad population. I don't see a virgin, but actually to look is pretty hard when I'm one-handed. So you do want to be aware of any pests, like your hive beetle. You want to be aware of their stores, because this is a smaller hive. You want to provide for them what you can. And these can be banked over winter. They can actually go over winter. But I wouldn't bank them that long, if at all possible. But utilizing the best of your equipment, you definitely can bank them for a long time and bank them just before sale so that you can then start using your nukes. I like to see my queens lay. think it's healthy for them to lay before being banked, but banking for a week, banking for maybe even 2 weeks shouldn't harm them too badly at all.